But we're going to the stock of the day, and that's AGL. It has seen its profits more than halve in FY22 to $225 million, blaming lower wholesale electricity prices or volatility in electricity prices and an outage at its Victoria station. 10-cent per share dividend, but investors won't be able to access a reinvestment plan. It's been a very turbulent year with its proposed demerger being scrapped and Mike Cannon-Brookes lobbying a takeover bid for the company. AGL says its next year's earnings will remain resilient. Then from FY24, it expects to benefit from elevated wholesale prices. Shares, though, sliding today. So what do our experts think? And I will preface this by saying we will be speaking to the company's CFO a little bit later on in the program. So Luke, I'll start with you. What would you want to know from AGL? Is there anything that would make you invest in this company now?
It's a large cap, Nadine, a real mega cap, so it's not one that's across my radar every day. And it's interesting, we get the stock of the day about an hour before the program, and most of the time, I can look at most companies and get a pretty good feel for what's happening and sort of dig into one or two key issues and have an opinion on them. This result, I must admit, I looked at it for half hour, 45 minutes, and it's probably one of the messiest results I've seen in a long time. There was so many moving parts to this business, and I honestly struggled to really get a feel for what direction the business is going in. The share price certainly suggests there's some struggles ahead of it. And if you take a step back from the operating environment, you're talking about a business still dominated by coal production and record high coal prices, the volatility of the energy market you were just discussing, and then the ongoing issue they face of this is a business that sort of sees its future transitioning to renewables, but how do you balance getting to that future versus maybe maximising the cash flows out of the assets you have now? So it's very difficult, and they're probably some of the questions that investors need to ask themselves. It's ironic I'm on here with Andrew because I know one of the things he loves to say, Nadine, is you don't get extra points for complexity in investing. And it's the first thing I thought about when I looked at AGL. It was just so complex. I think even if there are opportunities here, and someone like Mike Cannon-Brookes, maybe he has more of an altruistic approach to a business like this, but obviously he sees value in it, and I'm sure plenty of other investors do. The complexity to get to that value is just too difficult for me. So it's a large cap, so I couldn't look at it anyway. But even if I could, I'd just sit on the sidelines until you got much more certainty around just a few of those moving parts and a bit more stabilisation in the operating environment as well.
Strategic review, board renewal, activist investors on the register. Is it just too hard basket?
I don't think I've ever heard the term strategic review being uttered when things are going well, right? So that's probably the first thing to pay attention to. But look, even before these latest set of results, it's been a dog's breakfast. I mean, shares are down half from where they were 10 years ago. We just saw the 5-year chart there. And I'm not a chartist, but you want to plot out what the fundamentals have been doing, whether it's a sales or an earnings or a dividends. It's just really, really ordinary. And structural change is something that I very much pay attention to because there can be huge opportunities when industries undergo such significant change, but it's usually not a good thing for the incumbents. And the business here, I think the board needs to be taken to task. Mike Cannon-Brookes makes a lot of sense when you hear him talk about it. What's happening with this industry and energy generation has been on the radar for a long, long time, and they sat on their hands. Things have been politicized, and lo and behold, they're bearing the consequence of underinvestment, poor capital allocation. Can it be turned around? Potentially. But, as Luke was saying, you don't get extra points for degree of difficulty, and this is just way too hard. No thanks. Much better opportunities.
So you'd sell it?
Yeah,
if
in
you
a
had
heartbeat.
it.
In a heartbeat.
Got it. Thanks, guys.